Kevin, this comes from Tommy. He owns a single family house here in Louisville. The renter stopped paying his monthly rent. Now, to complicate matters, the renter was a friend of Tommy's and had agreed. Tommy had agreed to let the renter stay there at a reduced rent, but now Tommy says the friend has stopped paying altogether. So he's wondering, how does he have to attract or move or eject his former friend? What's the process?
Well, Tommy gets to enjoy the process of the eviction courts here. I'm assuming it's in Jefferson County.
Yeah.
I'm assuming he's got a written lease agreement with his friend, but you have to follow the terms of that. Usually, you have to be outside the terms of the lease. You have to give the appropriate notice. Uh, Usually, it costs $300 to $500 to go through the eviction process, but you can't self-help. That's the number one thing. Try
Wait,
to
wait,
cut
wait,
off
you can't self.
you can't use self-help like changing the locks when the
Oh,
gentleman's at work, things
okay,
of that nature. It'd be a
okay,
breach of the peace. So you have to go through the eviction process down at the courthouse. Recently with all the COVID restrictions and there was federal law and state law limiting the ability to do that. But I think everything's pretty much opened back up now. So
hmm
again, usually there's a notice provision. You have to get the eviction proceeding if they're still not out. Ultimately you have to get the sheriff, and I think it's 5 individuals to help set them out is what the term of art is used. So that
Oh,
that part gets costly, and
so
occasionally.
can these be friends of Tommy's that help to set his other friend out?
Not necessarily a
No,
good
no,
idea to do
no.
that. And
Well,
occasionally you'll drive by and you'll see some people's possessions out in the gutter in
yeah,
front of their home, and that's usually a set out where their personal goods were set on the side of
yeah.
the road. And yeah.
Oof.
So, but the sheriff will go out there to keep peace, but they're not going to be moving stuff out of the house. So you have to hire a crew to do that.
And just a little caveat here: if Tommy doesn't have a lease because this guy was his friend and now has stopped paying, is Tommy more out of luck at this point?
Makes it a little bit more
Mm,
difficult because you're kind
mm,
of going out of the realm of a tenant. And the rules as to landlord and tenant are pretty well defined. If someone's there as an occupant of the
yeah,
property, that say you allow a friend of the family to come use your place. Well, they're there. They're not technically a tenant, but they refuse to leave. You do have to go through probably a little bit more hoops because there's not a written lease agreement. So, but
got
the
it.
same process, the eviction process.